Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing wrap with news, views, interviews, special guests and previews of the week ahead. Coming up on the show today, we're looking back on the second leg of the four-year-old series, the Classic Cup, and it was Golden 60 again. All roads now lead to the Derby itself. Mark McNamara, new race caller, joins the team this weekend. We'll meet Mark a little bit later on, and we say goodbye or au revoir to Alexis Badel. He's one of a number of jockeys who are finishing their short-term contract. A very warm welcome to the show, Andrew Lejeune. Please say I'm joined in the studio by our Hong Kong Direct regular in Graham Cunningham. Graham, there's loads to get through, but primarily all eyes on the Derby now. We're a month away. Absolutely. And I think a small group of horses have separated themselves. One of the strongest trends in BMW Hong Kong Derby history, Andrew, is you need a three-figure rating if you want to win the race. There are 4 Derby contenders with that rating. Reading from left to right: Golden 60, Champions Way, Beauty Legacy, and More Than This. It looks between those 4 at this stage. There is obviously a little bit of water to go under the bridge as far as getting the horses there. We saw Golden 60 had a little bit of a cloud hovering over him before last weekend's race, but essentially now, you say we know the players. It's just a case of getting there and the draw on the day, I suppose. Yeah, there's always a bit of room for late drama. As regards last week's drama with Golden 60, Vincent Ho said he thinks he was between 75 to 80%. Well, I've got a stopwatch, and it tells me if Golden 60 was below his very best last week, I can't wait to see him on Derby Day. That's very dangerous. Only beaten once in his life so far. So that's where we'll start, in actual fact, looking back on last weekend's Hong Kong Classic Cup, and Golden 60 reigned supreme again.
Any concerns that Vincent Ho might have had about Golden 60 were quickly dispelled at Sha Tin as he continued on his magical path towards Hong Kong Derby glory. A temperature had left connections wondering if he'd be fit enough for the Classic Cup, but when asked after settling back early in the run, he produced his trademark turn of foot and recorded the fastest final 400-metre split to win in style.
Golden 60 and More Than This. What a battle. Golden 60 goes to the top now. 10 starts, 9 wins. He's a cracker.
He's a tough and talented horse, and he had some issue 2 weeks ago, and I just want him to relax as possible, you know. Need to snack him once he jumped out, and he settled really well in the race. I didn't want to push the button too early because I might use him too much. So I've waited a little bit and found a gap, and he sprint home the last 150, 200. And
Champions Way's gallant second indicated that he's peaking in time for next month's showpiece race, while trainer Francis Loy admitted that his third-place getter, More Than This, might need blinkers added for the Derby. Elsewhere, John Moore and Hugh Bowman were both content with the performance of Enjoying. He should eat up the extra furlong on offer on the 22nd of March. But one disappointment was the performance of Beauty Legacy. Team Size and Moreira had worked hard to get him to improve his racing manners, but that simply didn't happen.
To be honest, I think that was quite disappointing because he didn't really relax for me. We've been trying hard to teach him, and as you all could see at the back straight, he was fighting with me and throwing his head up. He's still on the learning process.
It wasn't just the Classic Cup where there were Derby clues. Amazing Beats won the subsequent race over the Derby distance, fending off 2 other 4-year-old rivals, Columbus County and Super Oasis.
Amazing Beats, Glorious Dragon over the top. A great drive here towards the line, very tight. Amazing Beats, a nose on the inside.
So attention now turns to the race that all owners here want to win, the BMW Hong Kong Derby. Based on his performances so far, Golden 60 appears to be a serious contender as he aims to replicate the great Rapid Dragon and win all 3 legs of the 4-year-old Classic Series.
Yeah, we waited a long time for Rapid Dragon, but Golden 60's come along quite quickly. In using him as a reference, I opposed Rapid Dragon through the first 2 legs and then got to the Derby. He's just better than the rest, and it's almost a little bit like that with Golden 60 as well.
3 years ago, Rapid Dragon went off 1.8 and swept the 4-year-old Classic Series. We're talking about these 2 horses in similar breaths now. Rapid Dragon was 114 rated going into the big race. Golden 60's 112. What Golden 60 has, and we see it every time, is this real killer turn of foot. The number of times he's recorded the fastest closing split of the day. He did so on his debut way back last March. He's done it several times since. He did it again last Sunday, and we touched on Amazing Beats and company there, a couple of Derby hopes in that race. If you look at the comparable split times between Golden 60 and Amazing Beats and Co., they're not even close.
Yeah.
Golden 60 is just in a different category to that type of horse. Now, there's always a query. I think he had 8 opponents in the Classic Mile and 9 in the Classic Cup. It'll be a full field, hopefully, on Derby Day. And he might not get quite such a charmed run when he needs it. Suffice to say, I think Zach Purton and them boys will not be giving any easy lanes on the 3rd, 4th Saturday in March.
Any concerns at all about the 2,000 metres up to the mile and a quarter?
Initially, before last week, it was still jury out in my mind, but I don't think we can hold it against him. Now, I think one of the worst things you can do as an analyst is to hold speed against a horse. When you look at the pedigree, and this horse is by Medaglia d'Oro with some stamina on the female side, he's bred to stay 2,000 metres, and I think it was only because he looked so quick at 12, 14, 1600 that we worried. The way he hit the line last week at the end of a pretty well-run race suggests he might just be even better at that distance.
Yeah, and the horses in that next race we saw, Amazing Beats, that was Handicap Company, Amazing Beats getting weight off Columbus County. They seem like they're in the next level, but deserve their place in the field. No surprises that with Vincent, after the racing, went to check on his superstar. Vincent, he doesn't have that many followers. He might get a few more after this, 275. I can see that number boosting, but there he is, back in the stables, and the horse, by all accounts, very well after that run.
Yeah, that's a great shot. He's relatively recent arrival on Twitter, Vincent, so he will pick up more followers as he goes along. And great to see some of his really well-known peers globally recognising what he's achieved of late.
Yeah, Tommy Berry and Brenton Abdullah joining in there. Good as right, as you all see. He was very patient because Zach got round his outside, didn't he, on the turn for home. So Vincent had to sit and wait. He obviously knew he had a lot of horse underneath him, and it might have helped him just sit and bide his time just for a few more seconds, right?
Yeah, and there's a hunger about Golden 60. When he sees the front, he puts his head down and he runs really, really hard. Traffic could be an issue on Derby Day. We won't know until that day. And I am still fascinated by more than this. I think Zach Purton's suggestion...
Talking about the headgear.
Yeah, I think it's a really key suggestion. He's now been behind Golden 60 twice. Not too far behind. They're just looking for that little bit extra, slightly longer trip and headgear on Derby Day. And I think it's still game on for more than this. If you like him, I wouldn't back off in any way.
All right, well, I won't jump off the more than this bandwagon just yet. Plenty more still to come, including an interview with Alexis Badel. As we head off to a break, though, we meet a new member of the team. Mark McNamara joins the coverage as a race caller on Sunday.
Hi everybody, I'm Mark McNamara, the new race caller here in Hong Kong, and looking forward to the adventure after spending the last 6 months at Sky Racing in Australia. Before that, the 10 years before that, it was in New Zealand, calling the thoroughbreds and the harness, including Group 1s at Riccarton Park. And before that, it was 13 years working for Sky Racing in Australia, doing everything from calling to studio presenting, and pretty much it's been a labour of love since I left school. Love my racing and can't wait to get into racing here in Hong Kong. It's all about the racing, it's all about the horse. It's got some of the best trainers, some of the best riders in the world, and to be a part of that and follow in the footsteps of some remarkable race callers from both hemispheres is just incredibly humbling. It has to be, I'm sure it's most people's, Fairy King Prawn, first Sunline, the horse of Hong Kong, first the mare of the world, and the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You hear that race even today. And watch the battle between the two. It's a remarkable race and a fantastic piece of commentary.
It's Sunline in front. Fairy King Prawn, the horse of Hong Kong, coming after the mare of the world. 150 to go. Sunline's a length in front. Fairy King Prawn's trying to get him. Sunline, the Kiwi pulling out stops. Fairy King Prawn lifts. They come to the line. Fairy King Prawn dives, but he missed. Sunline.
Been lucky enough to call across 2 countries so far. All 3 codes, done some greyhounds, plenty of harness racing and of course the thoroughbred racing, but the Copeland's Bakeries Mile at Riccarton Park from last year features a horse that's running in Sydney this Saturday in the Chipping Norton Stakes in the Group 1 called Tiakau Shark. It's owned by the captain of my favourite football side, the Cronulla Sharks, and a couple of guys I played soccer with. The call itself, Up Tiakau Shark, the boy in the tangerine and blue, is a play on from the Sharks theme song when they win, which is Up Cronulla. So it's a race that I love watching. I love seeing him win. He is the most remarkable horse.
Here comes Tiakau Shark past the 200-metre mark, and he's gone straight on by Tiakau Shark. Oh, he's good. Boots and all, Rangy Po, Colonel Kev, but it's Up Tiakau Shark, the boy in the tangerine and blue, and Tiakau Shark won it by 7.
Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct. Graham Cunningham still with me. We're looking ahead to the weekend action very shortly. But on the weekend, it'll be Alexis Badel's final day in the saddle here in Hong Kong. Early in the week, he caught up with Ed Sadler.
Well, it's Alexis Badel's final week of riding here in Hong Kong. Alexis, thank you for joining us. At the point of talking to you here at Happy Valley, you've ridden 24 winners this stint since arriving here in November. Your best ever. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. It's been an amazing season for me, and I'm glad to have 24 winners, which is good, and for many different trainers, which was very important this season, and yeah, it's pretty satisfying.
You've always done well in your time here in Hong Kong, but this time around especially so. Why is that?
Because I have improved, probably, and because I can adapt more to the Hong Kong style and the environment and the situation. So I have been able to get more support from good trainers, and also I've been pretty lucky.
Away from being on the race course as well, Hong Kong is unique in that as a jockey, you don't have an agent. You've got on some pretty good horses in your time here. Has that been from trainers coming to you, or has that been from you identifying horses that you want to be riding here in Hong Kong?
For both circumstances, some of them I just pick it up because I called at the right moment, and probably the homework has paid. And some of them just lucky the trainers called me and I was available.
And when you look at some of the horses that you've got to ride this time around, a number of nice young horses coming through here, like Inner Flame, Wellington, Super Wealthy. You must have enjoyed getting on those sort of horses. Yes,
it's been a fantastic feeling to ride such a high level of new horses. It's been very different from the first season for me. And of course, I want to thank every trainers who has supported me, because it happened because of the support. So yeah, I've done my very best.
You spoke about the support that you've got riding here in Hong Kong. You got a new source of support this season in Douglas White. A third of your winners have been for him. He's a legend of Hong Kong racing, 13-time champion jockey. Just tell us about riding for him and that working relationship that you two have got.
Well, Douglas he's been great with me because he gave me a lot of support. He definitely gave me his trust, and he's also a horseman, so which is particularly interesting to work with. And yeah, it's been a fantastic opportunity for me to have his support this season, and yeah, I think he'll be as a good trainer as he was a good jockey.
So Sunday is your last meeting for this contract here in Hong Kong. We've got big races coming up later on in the season. The Derby's only a few weeks away. Not long after that is Champions Day. Are we likely to see you again at some stage this season?
Yes, I definitely wish to find a good ride for the Derby, because I want to be back in Hong Kong for that important race meeting. And so I will still keep looking to find the best ride I can find.
And what about next season? Will we be seeing more of Alexis Badel later on in the year?
Yes, I definitely want to come back. If the Jockey Club is happy to having me back, I will try to come next season, of course, next season.
Away from racing, this season's been different for you as well, and that this is your first season here as a father. How does that change you as a jockey, Alexis?
It changed me in the right way, because you have
someone more important than you. So you want to be a better person, and everything you put in the work is for someone else. So I've been a better person and stronger, maybe.
Great interview there, Alexis, with Ed's Rebecca, his little baby girl. She in addition, November, I think she was born. She's still very young. He's 6 months old.
Yeah, in golf betting, they call it the nappy factor, when the athlete has a first child and they go out with extra hunger. But he's been a real positive presence around Hong Kong racing for a few seasons now, and all his hard work and the foundations he's laid have really come to fruition. 25 winners, 6th in the table, a handful for John Size, for Richard Gibson. He's got a great relationship with Danny Shum, of course, most of all, with Monsieur Douglas.
Absolutely, yeah. So when Ed was speaking to Alexis, that's before the Happy Valley meeting on Wednesday night, and they said 24, but of course he came out and rode one of the Class 1 winners on Wednesday night in Harmony Victory for Danny Shum. It was a good win.
Yeah, we won't mention Dordo on the same night, but Harmony Victory scraped the paint all the way round, and in a blanket finish that proved decisive. But no, he's in prime time of his career now. He's 30 years of age. He's got good contacts and good opportunities in France, but to have this Hong Kong angle through the winter, and looking down the track, the Jockey Club licensing committee, they have a list of riders they'd like to possibly sign up full-time at some point, a year or two down the track. His name would have to be high on the list.
Absolutely. Over 30 million in prize money just for this time here. Chances, more chances, good chances in his full book of 10 rides. We'll talk about that in a moment or so on Sunday as well, so he could push that 25 close to 30. Tony Pacone signed off, though, on Wednesday night as well. Yeah, when Tony was announced as coming here on a 2-month contract, a few people, and understandably, said, Tony who? Went to Google and couldn't find a great deal about him, other than he'd ridden 700 and something winners. But he had a big winner on his first day here, and a decent winner on his last, and 6 more in between. If you have 8 winners in 2 months in your first stint in Hong Kong, you're going better than all right, so well done to him. Absolutely, yeah, nearly $10 million in prize money for Tony as well. But he's back. Alexis will be riding in France next week as well. And Lyle Hewson signs off this week end too. He's heading to Japan. We wish them all well. The diary, 10 races coming up on Sunday. Back to Happy Valley again on Wednesday. And just a reminder as well, the big one, the Derby, Sunday the 22nd. It's going to be a huge day, and it will come round quicker than you think. Now, as far as Sunday is concerned, no trophy races as such, Graham, but Alexis signs off, particularly the last 3 races, 3 good rides for Douglas White. It's the 10th race we're going to focus on, just quickly. If a jockey asks to extend his contract by 1 day, which Alexis has done, you know it tells you he thinks he's got a good chance or chances. And race 7, 8, 9 and 10, 4 powerful rides for Douglas White for Alexis. And he's got the ride on Far Above as well. But in that final event, interesting as well, he's got the debutant Flashcard. He used to race for Andrew Balding under the same name. Winner at Ascot, I think 2 starts back there. Decrypt, 3rd in the Irish 2000 Guineas. We've got some Italian form. Glorious Spectrum returning from a long layoff. But Alexis does sign off there with Super Wealthy. Has looked pretty good so far. Big, strong, very progressive horse. 3 runs over 1,200, 2 impressive wins. He looks for all the world like a horse who will relish 1,400. His closing splits have been really, really dominant. Horse he beat last time, Ballistic King, has franked the form. Everything looks in place for a fond farewell or au revoir, adieu to Monsieur Badel. Superstar's another horse in that race that brings recent winning form to the table. He's been dealt a wide draw, barrier 12 for him, but Tony Millard, his strike rate's right up there. Yeah, he's got a good strike rate, Superstar, 5 from 10, I think. Also, like at a price on the speed is Cordyceps, who steps back to 1,400. I think he's one for the Quinnell and Trio, but I'm not trying to swim against the Badel tide here. I think the stage is set for him to ride a couple of winners this weekend. Far Above was mighty unlucky last time. He gets the ride for Douglas White in race 9, race 10, Super Wealthy. His closing splits suggest to me that he's still ahead of the handicapper. Yeah, Far Above, I think, with excuses, but hard to oppose. Unless he has those same excuses again. Just a little bit more on flashcards, maybe of Andrew Balding. There's a number of ex-Balding horses racing here. And looking at that win when he won at Ascot, that was pretty strong. He looked a really good horse. He was held up towards the rear and sprinted clear at Ascot. His trials haven't been that flash for Tony Cruz so far, but his latest one was much better than previously. Is that the one with Southern Legend? He chased him home? Absolutely, yeah. He was pushed out pretty firmly, but it was much better than earlier. He's one to keep an eye on. So is Glorious Spectrum, who ran a great race in the final race of last season, just beaten by Fast Most Furious. His trials have been good. I'm not convinced about Decrypt, but
it is significant to note that Zach Purton won on a Simulate last time. He presumably could have ridden a Simulate this weekend, but he sticks with Decrypt.
Yeah, only beat one horse home in the Champions Mile last time. They go for the hoods. So ultimately, I think you've probably played your hand already, but just make it official in terms of who do you like there in the last?
Lightly raced, strong improver with a good draw and a jockey who will be heading for the airport with a song in his heart, whatever happens, but particularly if Super Wealthy can make his extra day worthwhile.
All right, well, there you go. Super Wealthy in the last. I'm inclined probably to go with him. I think Racing Fighter might be one to keep an eye on as well. With a lightweight, he's had a few excuses in the last few starts.
Yeah, there'll be a few well-worn binoculars trailed on him this weekend for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Matthew Poon will be in the saddle there, but I think that's just about it. We're done. I don't want to put you on the spot as far as a Derby pick is concerned, but everyone turned up on the day in full health and everyone got a reasonable draw where they wanted to be, tactics-wise. Can anyone beat him?
Yes, I think more than this can give him a real race. But
when I say anyone, him,
yeah.
Golden 60
yeah,
I'm talking about.
Golden 60 is the standard bearer. He has been a real powerful presence throughout the 4-year-old series, but it is the Derby. Hopefully he'll be at a full field. No quarter asked, none given, and perhaps some cheek pieces, visor or headgear for more than this. It's still a serious contest. There's not that much between them.
All right, OK. Well, we'll wait for that a couple of weeks ago. Thanks as always, Graham. Thank you for watching as well. We'll say à bientôt then to Alexis this weekend. So we'll leave you with some of his highlights over the last couple of months. Enjoy this, and we'll see you again on Sunday. We'll bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.
The leader is on the inside in a flame for Alexis Badel. Out wider coming with a run over the final stages. There's Wonder Brahma, Moon Peaks there, but in a flame wins on debut. It's Wellington in front. He's clear. He's going to blow them off the racetrack here. First up, Money right on. Gee, that's a win. Wellington. Star Luck, but Super Wealthy has galloped up now. Oh, he's smart, this guy. Super Wealthy careering away. Wins over Ballistic King, and Alexis Badel. Love that win.